Eruch, the first question I wanted to ask is, what does Baba want of us? What would Baba want of us?
Well, the answer to that, according to what I have gathered from Baba, is everything of us, so that we are no more and He alone is. That is to put succinctly. Everything of us, mind, body, thoughts, words, speech, acts, actions, even the very thought of realizing our true self, everything just to be dedicated to Him. But how do we go after this? Baba said. He says, the first thing that you begin with is by loving me. I want nothing from you but your love for me, because I am love. And in my God-man's form, I am love personified. So all what I want from you at this stage, before you give your all, I want your love. And then it so happened that there was somebody, you see, around Baba at the time, and says, but how? How to love you? He says, well, when you fall in love with somebody, did anybody teach you how to fall in love with somebody? She says, no, I just fell in love. He says, well, then you have to fall in love with me. But then, through his compassion, he goes on, you see, dilating upon this theme of how to love me. And he said, it's not a joke to love me, because you will never be able to love me enough as I wish to be loved. For that you have to make a beginning first. You have to try to please me, you see. Then you will get the gift of my love. Love is a gift of God to man. Love in its truest sense. Love with a capital L. L-O-V-E. Love. That's a gift of God to man. And in order to earn the gift, you have to please Him. And the things that please Him, he says, how will you please me? He said. Well, he says, 3 things please me, he says. Think of things that you will not hesitate to think in my presence. Speak words that you will not hesitate to speak in my presence. Do things and act that you will not hesitate to do and act in my presence. And if you are able to do these 3 things, you will please me. That involves constant companionship of Baba, that means. Whether Baba is physically present or not, it's immaterial to the one who is resolved to do these things to please Him. That means we must keep His company all the time. So then how will you keep my company, Baba says? Before you think of things that you will not hesitate to think in my presence, you must create my presence. How? By thinking of me. How will you start thinking of me? You make a start then. Just as a child has to make a start in order to learn the alphabets of the language that is to be taught to him. So the tutor or the parents, you see, just make the child begin. How? By repeating that one letter, A or Alif or A, that is the first letter in the alphabet, time and again, overlapping it once, again and again. So Baba teaches us as to how we should remember him, keep his company. So think of him. He wants us to think of him again and again. And the ways to think of him is to begin with, have a picture of Baba. Till such time he gets himself established in your own heart. There are people who ridicule others who display Baba's buttons on their chests or have pictures in their homes or are fascinated by different pictures of Baba or a collection of album of Baba pictures. But that's not the right spirit, Baba says. Never ridicule anybody. Continue to think of me in the beginning by making a beginning with having Baba buttons around you, Baba pictures around you. You have to have his pictures in every room, you see. In your bedroom, in your sitting room, in the kitchen, in the toilet. You take a bath there, you have his pictures so that at least you are trained and disciplined. Means your mind is trained and disciplined to keep constant company, at least through these artificial means, you see. Howsoever artificial they seem to be to a philosopher, to a person who is well versed in metaphysics, but it's a beginning to be made by a layman. And this has been told to us by the God-man himself. So we take it as the very foundation as to how we should continue to think of him by making a beginning with the pictures. Then we have these pictures, you see. Then among these pictures there's a favorite picture that one likes. So he would like to hold that picture as his treasure and keeps it all the time in his pocket or in his wallet or in his suitcase or near his bed and all that, and thinks of it. That picture, so to say, is carried in his mind's eye all the time. And the other pictures around him remind him of his physical presence, you see. It all sounds so childish, but this very childishness takes you a long way to become childlike. And all what he wants is to become childlike. And this helps you. Then Baba says, with these little hints, you see, that he gives about your wanting to be in my presence, thinking about me, thinking of me, what you should do is, after this, naturally you'll come across people, you see, who have met Baba, who have been with Baba. Keep company of these people. Talk about him. Ask from them how he would be pleased with one, what he wanted of us, how we should remember him, how we should think of him, how he would love humanity, what did he do, what work he did. So gather all these information. So time and again you will be reminded about him. While you are in the company of such people, or whether you are away from them, you will be thinking about Baba in many different ways. What food did he like? Did he sleep? Did he snore? Did he have to go to toilet being the God-man? No. So these are the things, are very essential things, you see. They really seem to be very childish, but they help you to become childlike. And then Baba says, when you happen to get yourself well established in the ways of the God-man, you see, then what happens? You see? Then you need not go in search or hunting after people who have lived with him and all that. Then you naturally are so you're filled with so much information about Baba, you'd like to share with others. Then what happens? You share with others. And in your sharing with others, what do? You again bring Baba by your side. And that's how you continue to think of Baba. But this is a better way of thinking, by sharing what you have gathered from others to with different people. So that's how you again continue, the process is continuing to think about Baba. How will you do it? This is how you do it. And then what happens? That thinking about Baba, you see, and sharing about Baba, well, there is no end to sharing of Baba, you see, with others. Baba being infinite, you see, and you being limited. Well, you have your own lifetime, which is too little. Yeah, to talk about eternity, to talk about infinity, you see. So, this helps you time and again, you see, whether it be in this very lifetime or in your next incarnation or incarnation after that, you see, to bring him closer and closer to you and keeping company with him. Then, but if you are so fortunate, if you have been thinking of him to such a degree that a stage comes in your life, Baba says, where there is no need for you to share the treasures that you have with you. They are just being shared by people who sit around you, see. And a stage does come, you see, when you just remember him in everything. The stage now comes where you glorify him in every little bit, you see. You are thinking about him at the time when you eat your food, with every morsel or every little sip that you take from teacup or from the cold drink that you have that refreshes you, you glorify him. How nice is this water? How refreshing is this coolness of the water that he has given us? What a mighty creator he is. What a beloved Lord he is, you see, that he has given us this. And this glorification begins at a very rudimentary stage, you see, where you glorify the good things that you have around you, you see. Then you are matured in your glorification, and your maturity leads you and tends you to glorify him, that what a thing that he has given us, to appreciate all what he has given us, you see. And our appreciation then is not about our own self, but about everything that he has bestowed upon humanity on this earth and everywhere in this creation, you see. The stars, the firmament, the gravity of the earth, you see. The very breath that we breathe, the fresh air, the pollution on itself is glorified, you see, because it gives us a feeling, you see, of suffocation and makes us think of him, you see. Every little thing which humanity would call that it's a bad thing or a good thing, you see, in every little thing, the person who thinks of Baba and begins to glorify him thinks that it is for the benefit of mankind. Just as I said, you see, even the pollution in the air is beneficial because it makes us think all the more about the purity and the pureness and the freshness of the air that has been given to us by him. So in this like manner, glorification is extended to a further pitch where there are no more words to glorify him. He then begins to gaze all around him. He's stupefied with all the benevolence, all the bounties that are showered upon his creatures, you see. When you become that, Baba says, when something chokes you within and you have no more words and no more sight to see anything, it's time for the grace to descend upon you. The grace of what? The gift of his love. When gift of his love is bestowed upon you, it's easy going. Then you become mad in love with him, you see. Then you begin to see him as he really is. And when you see him as he really is, all that seems to be vanishes. And he alone is. But then still there is the separation between you, the viewer of the beloved, and the beloved. And then there is another stage where his grace depends upon you and you become one with him through his grace. So Baba says, when you become childlike, then you are closer to me. And then my grace of love descends upon you. And Baba says, this is all what he wants from us, you see. In the beginning, to love him. And how to love him, he has given us this. Now, apart from all these things, you see, this is a straight, high road leading on to him, you see. But then, man is so susceptible to wandering, you see. It's in his nature. There are so many factors that come into play, you see, because of the impressions that he has gathered during his long journey from the evolutionary stages to the reincarnationary processes. And these impressions need to be experienced, and therefore it leads him wandering from different places to different places, you see. So while he is thinking about Baba, I am talking only of the aspirants who are longing, craving, dying to become one with him, to see him as he really is. Our theme is just that. So in his process to love him, think of him, what happens? He is going out and sharing the treasure that he has received. Many things happen to him, you see. And in that process, he would like to do more work about Baba. He thinks that, Baba did work, you see, with the poor. He helped the needy. He helped the downtrodden in society. He visited the hospitals and tended the sick. He would be pleased if I were to visit these places, if I were to do these places. He led his close disciples to the sadhus and saints, to the ashrams of the perfect masters. He went to the Himalayas, you see, and led his close ones there in the quietude of the Himalayan ranges, you see. So we would like to do that, you see. Why can't we do that? And man tries to imitate him. So Baba has warned us against all these things. And he says, do as I say. Do as I tell you to do. Don't do as I have done. Don't imitate my acts because they are unfathomable. But just obey me. Do exactly as I have told you to do. So all what he wants us is to love and glorify him. Of course, man but has to experience the impressions that are unfolding in him, and in spite of it all, in spite of his being aware of all the injunctions and his wishes, he goes out, you see. He goes out in search of masters. He goes out in search of saints, in company of people, you see, thinking that his advancement would be all the more intensified by visiting the saints, by visiting the yogis, by visiting these masters and all that. But again there Baba comes to the rescue because of his warnings. He says, if you have taken me to be the beloved, it behooves the lover to have one-pointed attention on the beloved himself. For that Baba has given us a nice little figure, he says. He says, there was a person who had fallen in love with his beloved. And the beloved always used to keep the lover aloof from him. So Baba tells us the story about the beloved, who kept his lover away from him. And it so happened that after years of separation, the lover was once informed casually by the beloved that, the beloved would be pleased to see him. The lover is full of joy. He cannot contain his joy, you see, and he wants to run to the beloved, but the distance separated him. And he is making preparations, you see, to go to him after years of separation. And he is journeying towards the beloved. En route there are many fascinating sights and distractions. So Baba puts a counter question once to me by asking me, would that lover want to visit the brothels on his route to the beloved's home? I said, no, it's not possible. Because his one-pointed attention is on the beloved who has now invited him after years of separation. So he says, that's how I have been saying to you who love me or would want to love me. I would want you to come direct to me. I wouldn't want you to be distracted by visiting different places when you have determined to come to me. It's ridiculous, but you do not know. So it becomes my responsibility and duty to warn you to come direct to me. And after having taken my love, return directly home. That's how I want you to be. So that's how he has said about what he wanted of us. That was your first question, no?
One question that seems to tie in with that, Eruch, is making a pilgrimage to Baba's tomb.
Well, this was dilated upon by us yesterday, don't you remember?
Yes.
So why don't you replay the tape if you want to?
It seems like it's just a point from there is none like Baba to there is none but Baba.
It is because Baba always has been giving us the figure of his being the root of the huge tree, you see, that is manifest in illusion. He being the root of everything, he being reality, he is the root. And all the manifestations that you have, you see, in creation is nothing but the outcome of his being the reality. So Baba always would want us to catch hold of the root, and you have the whole tree, you see, with the fruits and the blossoms and the flowers and the leaves and everything. So it's meaningless to go in for the leaves and for the fruits and for the branches and all that. Once you have the roots in your hand, you have the whole tree, you are the possessor of it.
The tree might come off, the leaf might come off in your hand, and the branch might break, and you might come down with it.
So, your next question is what Baba means by holding on to his Daman.
Yes.
First of all, let us understand what that word Daman means, you see. Daman means it's the hem of his robe or a skirt, you see.
Or garment.
Or garment, yeah. The hem of the garment. It's something, the end portion, you may call it, of a robe or a garment. So the figure that Baba gave when he said that we should hold on to his Daman, and hold on, not with just one hand, but with both our hands, you see. So he one day explained to us what he meant by it. The explanation that he gave us was so beautiful, you see. He says, it all boiled down to the fact that he wants us to totally depend upon him. And how sweet and comforting it is to depend upon him. He gives us an example for that of a child who is being taken by his mother to a carnival or the World Fair, you may call it. The child is being taken out there in that crowd. There are so many sights there. It's frightening to the child. At the same time, it makes the child happy too. Frightening in the sense because for the first time the child is being taken out in a crowd there, milling crowd. And the reflex of the child, without the mother wanting him to do anything, is he just holds on to the daman or to the skirt or to the hem of the skirt of his mother. Just that act of his makes him feel so comforted, secure. And he depends upon the mother totally, because he knows as long as he holds on to the skirt of his mother, he is safe and secure. Mother then winds her way through one section of the carnival or the fair or another, and many giant wheels are there and many other distractions are there, and there are people who make speeches and there are stalls and a lot of tantalizing ice cream is there and many things are there. The child is able to enjoy all the sight, all the sound, everything that is there, while feeling completely secure because he has the grip of the mother's skirt there. Likewise, Baba says, this whole world is nothing but a big carnival, and there is the milling crowd around it. There are many distractions on the path, you see. And, well, if you want to be in the world, you see, what will keep you safe and secure is your firm grip on me, on my name, on my keeping me as your companion, you see, like holding on to my skirt or my robe. So that's why he always wanted us to hold on to his Dharma, to completely depend upon him. You see. That doesn't mean that you should not act on your own. Just as the child wandered through the fair and enjoyed everything and did ask people and did come in contact with so many thousands of people and everything was there.
But didn't get lost.
But didn't get lost, you see, was holding on to the mother.